Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back once again to the channel. Seems that, I'm getting started a little bit early because you all know when it comes to streaming, we got to make sure we're going live. So, I definitely worked on it. I'll give everybody a couple minutes to get rolling in. And then we can take a look around and see what we got cooking for today. Good morning, MTBK. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm sure Machine is still asleep. He said he was going to bed earlier, so I said, okay, we'll see you when you wake up. He'll probably pop in sooner or later. But today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking on PC Part Picker and exploring how to put a PC together. What parts to pick, what would be a good choice, and what would be bad choices. We can look at low budget gaming systems, making one of the low budget gaming systems, intermediate gaming systems, and high-end gaming systems. So, I got a couple people in my box the other day said, Jay, when you gonna do a video on picking parts for a PC? I said, well, we're gonna do it. I told them we're going to do it live, and hopefully they show up because that way they can see it live and they can get their 2 cents in. And also, if they come in late, that's okay. And if they watch the replay on the video, that's okay too. And make sure, if this is your first time here, to hit that subscribe button, and also to hit the like on it, so that way YouTube will put our videos out there and show the world so we get more subscribers. Seems that YouTube has a way of, truthfully, I don't think they're even putting my videos out for 72 hours before they put them to the back of the bus. So, hopefully by next year, they'll have everything straightened out to where, they give everybody a fair shake when it comes to putting videos out there. And hopefully we can get more subscribers. That would be a plus. More subscribers we get, the more we can do, the more content we can make, and just go from A to Z. So, we got a couple in here. Let's go ahead and get the party started. Make sure that I get over here and I go into the Bluetooth settings and I go into the mouse settings and I go into the mouse pointer and blow up the mouse pointer so that way everybody knows I got a big mouse pointer. And let's go to the action screen and see what I got cooking. Okay, big mouse pointer's here. We're going to go ahead and click over here. We are on PC Part Picker. Hopefully y'all can see it. You go to PCPartPicker.com. You can go into the Builder section. Right there, just click on the Builder section. You can do it right along with us if you want to do it too. So, let's talk a little bit about how PC Part Picker works. Okay, you got a compatibility list here, and it shows the estimated wattage that it would put out. And down here would give you graphs and everything else of the PC parts that you pick. Now, you ask me, where do we start when it comes to picking parts? Everybody always says, well, you got to start with the processor. Okay, I got a little bit of a problem with starting with the processor. Is because that's not the heart of the system. The heart of the system is your motherboard. So, let's do it a little bit backwards than what everybody else is doing and go into the motherboards. Now, let's go over here to the price and set your budget. So we can move this down. Let's say you got a $200 budget. Just say, $200. So now that sets your budget. Let's say you got a preference on a manufacturer. Some people do got preferences of what they like and what they don't like. You can always pick whatever motherboard you want or leave it on all. So this gives you the variation of them all. Then we go over here to the top where it says price. There's a little arrow down. Point that up. Shows you the least likelies. So, since it's AM4, AM5, we're going to start off with, let's say, your first system, and you don't want to spend a lot, and you just want to start off small. Okay, we will start like this. I would suggest a B550 motherboard to start off with. My personal preference is Asus, but everybody likes ASRock and whatever, So let's look on the list. And, if we're just going to do an AM4 motherboard, we click the AM4 button right here. This will kind of sum it up a little bit for you. And they got the B550M. I don't like the B520. I'm not a fan of B520s. B450, that's kind of a little bit, back in the time. So if you want a motherboard that's going to be dependable, a B550 motherboard would do it, I think. My personal preference would be the Asus B550 Strix gaming motherboard. That's the one I like. That's what I'm using now. So, let's say I got my personal preferences on what I want to pick, and I just go with Asus. And that sums it up for you right there. So they got all these motherboards to choose from. If you want I wouldn't recommend a 520. They got a 550 Prime 550M right here. The M-A CSM. I'm not a fan of the CSM. They got a Strix B550A, which that's the same motherboard I have, and it's not a bad looking motherboard, which is right here. So it's not a bad looking motherboard. If you're looking for something like this. Now let's go backwards. Now that motherboard, I would say, is a good motherboard. It'll get you where you're going. So let's say I add this to my list because it's $119. And this will handle any CPUs that are out there in the AM4 series. So you have nothing to worry about there. MTBK says, to me, this is a complex topic, and I have a very different approach how I pick computer parts in a case I want to build a system myself. Listen, a lot of people do Don't get it wrong. Everybody does it in their own way. This is just showing you that you can pick all your parts right here on PC Part Picker. Not a sponsor, by the way. You can pick all your parts from PC Part Picker and then get your idea of how much it's going to cost. Everybody has their own preference and own way of doing things. It's understandable. But I'm just going from a low-end budget PC that, that you can start off with, that if you're a first timer, you don't want to spend a lot of money, because when you put it together, and what happens is if you blow it up, you're not out an arm and a leg when it comes to building. Hello, Machine. Good to see you. You're not late. We just got started, so. But the reason why I say AM4 motherboard is because the simple fact that it's dependable. There's a lot of benchmarks out there for the AM4. So now I'll go pick a CPU, and I'll turn this up here. And this will give you an idea from, I do that because it gives you the lowest to the highest prices. So, you can go with the 5500, you can go with the 5500 GT, you can go with the 5600X, 5600 GT, 5700X, which I have, and it's only at $130. The 5700X is a pretty good processor, I think. So, just to start off with your basic start-off computer, it's only at, let's say, $130. So we add that in. Now we look for your memory, and we go from lowest to highest. And the kind of memory you probably want is 3600. And work from there. Some people like the RGB on it. I don't prefer the RGB because I think it takes resources away from the CPU. And don't forget your drinking snacks, by the way. Actually, for the price on the AM4 motherboard, for the price you pay for 32 gigs of AM5 for the RAM, for 32 gigs, you could buy 64 gigs of AM4 RAM. See, you're going to see this in a minute. So let's say I want Crucial or Corsair. I like Corsair. I have their RAM. So you do the LPX. Well, let's see if I can narrow it down. Yeah, we'll narrow it down a little bit. Corsair Vengeance, LPX. You want the 16 gigabyte version. So we're looking for 3600. So we're going to find the 3600. That's 8, 32, 36, 16, 36. That's 2 times 8. We're looking for 1 times 16. See, this is 16 gigabytes. This is 2 sticks at 8 gigabytes each. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for LPX 16 right here. 1 times 16, 3600 for $34.99. I know they got it on sale pretty much cheaper than this. So you can add additional memory because this is 16 gigs. Or we'll take this off, and what we'll do is we'll go and find the 64 gigs. We'll find the 64 gigs. That'll probably be easier. I was sitting there thinking about it, 16 gigs, then you have to go 4 sticks individual. You want one package. One package is 64 gigs. So that's pretty much what you want. Speed, let's change it up to 36. DDR4. Show more. We want 16. We can do one. We can check out 1 times 32 and see we get the prices there. You guys probably think I'm crazy doing this. No. I mean, you could even go the Patriot Viper Elite for $47 and still have great RAM. But that's 32. But we're looking for 36. How about that? We'll just change it up. $36. Viper Steel. This has got RGB. It's $52. So one times 32. As if your motherboard is capable of 128 gigabytes of RAM, you might want to do 1 times 32. So you might want to get 1 times 32. You can get this one right here for $52. Or you can get the Elite 2 for $51. You need to do the Beast Fury for $57. You got your choices. You can pick whatever ones you want. But it would be wise to pick the 3600. Truthfully, it would be really wise to pick the 3600. I would pick this one right here. And then it says additional memory. So you can do the Patriot. Well, they got a 62 times 32. 64 blackout version. Me, I like the blackout version, guys. For the simple fact, I mean, it's just my preferences. I mean, it's just my preference, that's all. That's 2 times 8. or 2 times 32 for 93. That's even better yet. Let's see if they got a blacked out version right here. 36. That's a little bit more expensive. Let's do this. You can do this for $100. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll X this out. So what I did was I picked the Viper Steel RGB 64 3600 with the CL20 clock. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. 3200 CL16. So that's about correct. So, let's see. If I was going to do 64 gigabyte system RAM, I would probably go for the 2 times 32, which I did. That's what I caught what you were saying. I just now reading what you're saying. This gives more motherboard options. If 64 gigs is enough, models are listed. 128 gigabytes. Yep. And I agree. Search engine can show RAM kit sizes and single module size. It's easy to navigate. I do understand that. I got four RAM sticks in mine. So if I ever want to upgrade the RAM in this computer to 128 gigabytes, I would have to get me 2 64 gigs kits. That would equal the same price as 32 gigabytes of DDR5. So, you see my point. This right here is $100. For 64 gigs of RAM is $100. Now, if you were to buy 32 gigs of RAM, AM5, DDR5, that's $100. So I'm getting twice the amount of RAM for half the price. So this is the reason why I went this route and stayed on the AM4 platform, because with having 148 different processors, I hope I'm right about that, let's say over 140 processors, you have an option to choose anything you want on this type of motherboard. With this type of RAM, you'll have no problem there to do what you need to do. Now, there's no sense of overclocking the RAM because it's already at 3600. It's already in its prime. So you can set, you can set it up to where it runs at its 100%. It's only 2 sticks. So it's only dual channel. You're not running 4 channels, you're running 2 channels. So that gives it even better. It gives it a better shot at gaining more speed. Right. Well, you got over 140 plus CPUs to choose from. You just don't have to choose the 5700X, but I chose the 5700X because it was $130. Now, when I bought it, it was $165. So actually, it's $35 cheaper now. Price came down. It's not a bad deal. So looking down at here, you're looking at $350 for the RAM, for the motherboard, and for the processor. That's not including the storage, which we're going to go through. Now, before you do that, you go backwards a little bit. You go back to the motherboard, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to go to Amazon. I'll show you why in a minute. So what we're looking at is make sure that it's legit. You know, make sure everything's legit. See more, which I know the clock speed's not at 26666 megahertz. It's a lot higher than that. So memory is not 2.5 gigabyte neither. It's 128 gigabytes. So you ask me, what am I looking for here? I'm looking to see how many M.2 slots it has. Okay, it's got featuring dual M.2 slots, telling me that it's like 2 M.2 slots. So I already know this. I got the motherboard, but that's what you want to find out. If you're going to get a solid state drive, it's an NVMe solid state drive. And yes, I do have a Type-C Thunderbolt 3 header that's in the back. So now that you know what this is about, because this tells you everything you need to know, you go back, and now you can choose your solid state drive, your hard drive. Choose storage. Now, this is where if you got a preference, then what's y'all's preference? What do y'all I know what kind of drive I would want. And I mean, you can get the 4 terabyte, you know, you can get a 4 terabyte for $264, or you can pull that up like that and you can see what the prices are on low type of RAM. But I would suggest not getting anything below 1 terabyte. So go here to the capacity. I'm going to change it to 1 terabyte. So this way you guys can see, you know, what to pick from. But anything below a terabyte is not going to be worth it to you, especially if you're on Steam. You know, if you're on Steam, it's not worth it. Memory storage capacity is probably 2.5 gigabits LAN speed. Yeah, it is. But you have to understand, I'm not using anything over 1 gigabyte of LAN. So using a 2.5 gigabyte of LAN, the motherboard will carry me through until my internet gets 2.5 gigabytes of internet speed faster. But I'm not doing that. I'm only doing 500 megabytes. So, big difference. So 2.5 gigabytes of LAN speed is not going to be something I'm going to be busting through in the next 5 years. I mean, if I'm using like a server that requires me to have all that speed, like 10 gigabytes per second, then I can see me having a better motherboard. But I'm not going to need it because I don't have a server. Everything's built into my PC. So, the server, the gaming, content creation is all built into this PC. Everything's built in. So I don't need a server. Now, when it comes to let's go ahead and set this at SSD for now. And this tells you the price per gigabyte right here. It tells you the price per, I think that's megabyte. No, I think they're saying gigabyte, but okay. Right here you got your pricing. And now I'm looking for a 1 terabyte SSD. Me, I'm going to tell you, I prefer Crucial. So, that's my thing. I prefer Crucial because it'll last. And you got right here, Crucial plus P3 plus 1 terabyte, $59. That's what I would use for the operating system. Since now I got 2 spots for M.2, I'm going to go back in it again. And since it's 1 terabyte, I could just hit Crucial and then see what they have for size. I could do, I don't think I'm going to spend $460 for a drive. No way. They got 4 terabyte right here for $212. Or they got a P3 plus, 2 terabytes. That'll be good enough. So, that'll be for like a skiff drive. Basically, extra little storage drive for like games and stuff like that. So, hopefully y'all are sticking with me on this. They used to double because double the amount of chips were used. Yeah. If Amazon wants to make up things, we know how to do it. The SSD speed basically doubles from 128 gigabyte to 256 gigabyte. And then it doubles from 256 to 512. It's 128 gigabytes for every level. You go 128, 256, and then so on. So, but it's recommended for the size to get a 1 terabyte. See, I did my operating system on a 1 terabyte drive. Now, knowing your PCIe slot speeds, basically knowing the slot speed of your M.2 drive. One is 3.0 x4 and the other one is 4.0 x4. So getting a 4.0 x4 drive is not a bad thing. Even though that you get a 1 terabyte at 4.0, it'll still operate in the 3.0 section. It's not a big deal. So that's pretty much what you want as far as your hard drives. Now, if you need additional drives, you can think about going a regular hard drive which if you decide, because you got SATA hookups on your motherboard, you can always, you know, look at the 7200 RPMs. Me, I like Seagate. Let's go to the end. Let's bring down the cost. So, let's say you got extra money you want to mess around with. You know, you can always get the EXO's X14. It's 10 terabytes for $238. You can always get that. Or you can get the Exos for $214. That's if they got it in stock. You can always get the Enterprise, an 8 terabyte, depending on what size you want. You can always get a bigger drive. You know, that's if you want that. Or you can go and look at the 4 terabyte for $100. So even if you got one of these for $100, that's still not bad. So now you got, let's say, 4 terabyte, 5 terabyte, 7 terabytes of hard drive space. Total, 7 terabytes. I have 18 terabytes. So I can't complain about that. When I got my hard drive, it was only like $169 on sale. So you can get them on sale. The main board itself supports PCIe 4.0 X4 for the M.2 slots, but one slot is PCIe 4.0. The second slot is PCIe 3.0. I know because I got the motherboard right in front of me. So, and yes, it's got the ALC 1220. Play louder than, yeah. Yeah. But that's just the way this hard drive rolls. I mean the motherboard. Okay, let's see. Let's get... See, I'm not going to pick out a monitor or the operating system because there's, you know, you can always find them what kind of monitor you want, but we'll dabble into that. And the power supply, we'll dabble into that. But we want to go to the graphics card next. See, right now you're at $628 and $629. Okay. You're on your way to building a $1,500 PC. This can save some money for not needing a discrete sound card or a good headset or good headphones, possibly with an amplifier. Yep. This is an important multimedia becomes a major use case at some point. Yeah, I always get motherboards with built-on network cards, the built-on audio cards. It's all built onto the motherboard. So if you wanted to go cheap as cheap, you could have got a 5700G and still rolled with the same here and used the onboard video and saved yourself a ton of money from the graphics card. But the 5700G will play some games, but not all the newest games. So, let's look at the video cards. And let's say you keep a $600 budget. So let's say you keep a $600 budget and you go from the lowest to the highest. I don't think we want all that nonsense. So we'll start the budget off at $200. Basic cards. And then work your way up to the $600 mark. So some of these cards at $200, and you want to play today's game, just keep this in mind. You want to play today's game, and let's see, PCIe X16. Let's see. You can always pick if you want 1 fan, 2 fans, 3 fans. PCIe 16 pin. You got 8 pin. You got 8. I'm just going to leave that all into the mix. Let's see. I don't know. Picking out some cards, within the $600 mark, you can get a 7800 XT. That'll run good with this. You can get a 7900 GRE. Let's see. Let's do that. Let's do 7900 GRE. Okay. Well, let's take that off. Right here. There. I forgot that was there. Okay, so you can get an ASRock Challenger for $529. That's if you like rasterization, you're not into ray tracing, then you can go that route. So you can go the Power Color Fighter, which I prefer. That one right there would be a good pick. The GPU selection is most interesting because of some people, they're not yet quite there. Some dude wants 4070 Super performance in a very compact form factor. Okay, well, even if I unclick this and you're looking for a 4070, not that one. Best thing I would say is the Asus, right here, the Asus Dual Evo OC, which I have right here. This is the compact version. So this right here is $559, $560. So even if you get that for $560, that's still not a bad deal. You can always get the MSI Ventus. But I'm going to tell you, if it doesn't say OC, I would not get the graphics card. And this one right here is 4070. But this one here is only the GDR6. Now, if you're going to buy a 4070, you got two types now. You got the 4070 with the memory type is GDR6. And then you got another one, which the one I got is GDR6X. If you don't get the 6X, you're going to miss 1.5% performance off of that card alone. So, $20 GB PNI RTX 4000 SFF ADA being too expensive, and an RTX 5050 probably not about to be fast enough for the job. Yep, I do agree with that. When buying the hardware, people don't usually know if it must be a do-it-yourself PC. Well, when you're building from scratch, it is a do-it-yourself PC. Not unless you're building a PC. You got a PC already, but you're kind of switching out parts. And that's a different story. It all depends on what your motherboard can handle. This is all a part of research. If you don't do your research on every part you have in your PC, if you're going to replace parts, it's best to do your research to see what the max processor you can put into that motherboard, the max amount of RAM you can put into that motherboard as far as gigabyte wise, or the clock speed, the little stuff that you need to do in the back end of it. So there is a little bit more stuff that you have to do if you're taking your current PC and you're upgrading it. So if I wanted to upgrade mine, the only thing I would have to do is change the processor. I would have to upgrade the processor to like a 5950 if I wanted that. Or I can go X3D, I can go the 5800 X3D, but it wouldn't make sense for me to go up to a 5800 X3D knowing the price. Cheapest RTX 4070 right now is over 500 euros. Here, again, 519 to be precise, and it's GDR6X RAM, a pallet dual, yeah. And not that I care about the memory speed, but I know you do care. Yeah, I do. Believe it or not, I do. But unless you get this kind of budget to where you can afford getting a $600 card somewhere in that margin, then this is the one I would go with. It's kind of personal preference too. Is because I've been running this GPU for a long time, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. And the parts that I'm picking, I have no issues with it. So these are parts that are already tested. That's the thing. So there's a big difference of picking the parts, and I've already tested the parts to make sure they work or not. So you have to understand that too. These parts that I picked out are pretty much the same parts I got in my PC that I've been running for more than a year, and still have had no problems. Other than the RAM, the system RAM, I would have picked the Corsair. The LPX. You can pick the LPX 16 X4. That means you would have 4 sticks instead of 2, or you can pick the 32 gig sticks. and times 2, that would give you 64. You can go that route and then keep 2 channels open for another 64. You can do that too. But the Patriot worked just fine, you know. But with the Patriot, it's not really overclockable. That's the only reason I like the Corsair so much, because I was able to go up 400 megahertz. I think 400, something like that. So with the Corsair, you can go up 400 megahertz and then bring it to 4,000 megahertz, running at CL20 instead of CL, was it 22 or 24, somewhere in there. But you have a lower clock level, lower clock latency, but you'll have more frequency. So you'll have a wider spectrum. It works out for the good. That's the reason why I like, having RAM I can trust that will overclock. So that's the whole purpose of that. Now, as far as this, I would say, yeah, I would pick this right here. Even if it's $560. Because it's overclockable, which they have a switch on it that you can set it to regular and overclock. So they have an overclock switch built onto the GPU. It's not done by software. So this one I would recommend when it comes to that. So that's $560. So now you're up to $1,188.98. Oh, just say $1,189. $10 shipping. That'll probably bring it down to $1,179. You're still not done yet, unless you have a case that this will fit in, which it should fit into any ATX case. As long as you got 360 millimeters wide on the case, you should be fine. So, but just say you don't have a case and you want to keep your price down. They got some nice cases in the $100 range. Go $100. And then you go I wouldn't go below anything that below $75. You want a decent case with fans and everything else, I wouldn't go below $75. Truthfully. They got the CX800. What you're doing is looking for something that's got a lot of airflow, that's going to be within reason. They got the H5. Let's look at this one really quick. It's the NZXT H5. You can put a 280 millimeter AIO cooler in there. That's what it looks like. It looks like 140 on the fans, but it doesn't look like you get the fans. I love the design. Really hard to unscrew. Ew, lordy. So, not too much of a fan, I guess. So I guess that's a case that I won't touch. It's usually the first thing I see that usually is like, if it's not worthy enough. That's a white one. that doesn't have enough airflow for me. I'm really choosy when it comes to the cases, guys. I mean, seriously choosy when it comes to the cases. I mean, even if it's an off-brand. That looks like it's too short. It's an ATX mid tower, so that means it's I need to find an ATX case. Let's see. ATX. I'm narrowing it down a little bit because you can do that on the side here and narrow things down. So that's why you got to go back to your motherboard and see your motherboard, which I know this is an ATX motherboard. See, ATX motherboard. Let's see. What I'm looking for is if there's something special about the motherboard with the connectivity, HDMI, dual slot, Type C port, Type C port, and so this has got a Type C port. Okay, so right there, that tells me that I got something special on the port. So I got a Type C right here. So that kind of narrows it down for you. See what we can find. Something that's decent. Huh. Let's see. Oh, they could have made it bigger. My God. Well, that's not too bad. That's got expansion size. Let's see. What does it come with? Oh, it's a white one. Power supply, none. Tempered glass. Power supply shroud, no. It's 518.7 millimeters. So it definitely will fit any kind of graphics card. Except for the newest one, the 5090. I heard that was going to be over 600. What they say, 630 something millimeters long. What the hell? $25 for the case, unless I do case modding or want a certain size. Tons of fun doing the research, checking it out, entire market. It just takes a half an eternity, but enjoyable. Yeah, I do agree. I'm looking at this case because it's got potential, even if it's white. Even if it's white, you put the right RGB with a black board, and even the RAM's got RGB. You can do a black and white build. Black, white, and silver, because the motherboard's got a little bit of silver in it. This would be a nice one. Could be a nice one. But the problem I have right now is this. Airflow. That's the problem I'm having with that. Let's see this one. That's different. That's the front of it right there. Oh. I don't like that one neither. Because now you got to have a tucked away power supply. You got to have a SFF power supply. Ew. Nope, I don't like that neither. Yeah, I mean, guys, this is what you go through when you go to pick, parts. And sometimes you got to upgrade a little bit to the next level. But I don't think that could be a good one. If that could be a good one. Let's see. What does it come with? Comes with Type C. That's what I'm looking for. Power supply side panel, power supply shroud. Yes, comes with the power supply shroud. Fits ATX, ETX, micro ATX, and ITX. Without cages, it's 410 millimeter. Total is 481 millimeters. Well, with the parts we're picking, 481 millimeters is not going to be a lot. So, and if I don't like the way the white looks, I can always go to the black. That means I can spray paint it black. If that's something I wanted to do. So, but I like to get them fanless. Wow. Let's see. I don't know. This one would be pretty cool. Three fans at top, so you know it's 380 millimeters minimal. So that brings it up to like 412. 412. So you can do bottom fans. Wow. No. This has no place to hide. There's no place to hide nothing. But I'm sure you all get the point. Lots of holes in this PC case. Looks like an ultralight gaming mouse. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so let's lower our expectations and kind of see what we can find in our lowered expectations. see what comes with this. Okay. Does it give you anything? No. So usually you get a case that, you know, you can find something. That looks like it's sealed in the front, kinda, and it's got airflow on the side. So no, I'm not a fan of that. Trust me, I am not a fan of that. So can't be this hard just to find a case, guys. Cannot be this hard. That's pretty cool. That's only $119. Let's see. That don't look too bad. Well, what do y'all think? That don't look too bad. Give you a little decor if you want to, you know, a little RGB. It don't look that bad. Okay. We'll say this as our case. We'll add that. Power supplies. Okay. Now, power supplies. They got the RM1000E, 80 gold, 1000 watt power supply. Perfect. $150. I'm not going to spend $100 on an 850 watt power supply. The prices have gone up on power supplies. If you're going to do it, get 1000 watt for $150. Simple. Operating system, you can get on Hookeys and get them for $30 with a promo code. I don't have a promo code yet, so we'll have to work on that. Okay, monitors. Monitors, you can choose whatever you want. You want a 1440p? We'll go to the monitors. 4,911 monitors. And the best one they got is $8,926.24. That's for machine. He could buy that one right there. That's an expensive monitor. But it's a 65-inch monitor. 120 hertz at 4K. It's an OLED. But let's reduce our pricing down and let's keep it around $300. Be reasonable. And what we'll do is screen size, we'll keep it around a 37. We'll keep that, all that. We'll go black, brightness, pitch, blah, 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 all the way from A to Z. Okay, now, you can get one that's a 19-inch. That is like, nope. Got a 24-inch. Samsung 22. Me, I like a 37. LG, that's a 1080p monitor. Guess we better look. Let's move it up and put it at 23. And then go from there. So, looking around now. What do you mean, no, not you, machine? Come on, man. It's only $8,000. It's only $8,000, bro. If I wanted an ATX 3.0 or ATX 3.1 power supply, I can go to the $40-$50 range, get a 550 watt. Yeah, you could, but you have to understand that the way I'm doing this is future-proofing you for the next generation. That's the reason why I went up to a 1,000-watt power supply, was future-proofing you for the next generation. That power supply is going to last you 10 years. If you treat it right, it's going to last you 10 years. So, to have a power supply that lasts you 10 years, that's a good thing. Especially the warranties on some of these are usually 5 to 10 year warranties as it is. So you want to future-proof yourself with a great warranty and go from there. So, also, RGB takes CPU resources, as you said. Yeah, I know they do. So I don't need that. Well, if you got a 1,000-watt power supply after that, it just doesn't matter about the RGB at that point. Because for the simple fact that I use RGB on my PC, and I still don't hit 500 watts. I don't even hit anywhere near 500 watts. Full tilt. So, running at idle, I don't use any, doesn't use much power at all. You know, I might use like maybe 70 watts sitting at idle with RGB on and everything else. But with RGB off, might be about maybe 30 watts. Which I can turn the RGB off too. So, alrighty, let's see. What kind of TV would you guys pick? Gotta help me here. I mean, what kind of TV would you guys pick? I mean, they got a 27 here in ASRock, 165 hertz, IPS for $107. I mean, 27 inch, 165 hertz, 1 millisecond in delay. I mean, that's $100. So, it's a 1080p monitor. If you're looking for 1080p. I know y'all are going to say, you know, get off that 1080p kick because you know better. I know you guys are going to say it. Okay, so we'll go 1440p. 165 or 144 hertz. Okay, so we're at 1440. Let's go back to the top, see if we can find one. This one right here is a 27 inch at 165 hertz, 1440p monitor. VA. Gotta remember what VA meant. Panel type. Or you got 180 here. It's an IPS. I don't know. I don't think I would care for that one. I don't know, really. I mean, I I want to keep in this bracket right here, and I don't want a Dell monitor. Hell no. And I want to keep it IPS. So this is an ASRock too. Huh. That's not too bad. I like the sharpness. Not too bad. So this one right here, 147, 148 bucks. That's worth it. So, unless you run dual monitor, then you can pick up another one of them as well. If you want to add another monitor, you can add up to 3 monitors. If you want, or you can, they sell a splitter, and then you can take and add up to like 6 monitors if you wanted. But the mouse, the keyboard, and all that, sure, you guys can get it. I mean, if you want to order it, you can just go on Amazon and order whatever keyboard and mouse. I mean, and headphones and all that. I mean, whatever package deals you get. Usually they got like $60 package deals. You can get your mouse, keyboard, headset all in one. And it's like 60 bucks on Amazon. So it shouldn't be that bad. I run 1080p and 1440p. Well, this is a 1440p 180 hertz monitor for 148 bucks. That's not too bad. So, if you guys need any webcams or anything else, that's all extra, you know, when you get it. That's all extra. So, let's say you need let's say fan controllers, stuff like that. Let's say you get the case and it doesn't have any fan controllers. Fans are the fan controllers. So we go to case fans, and we can go lowest to the highest price, and then you can look for case fans. They got tons of them. Let's say we'll keep it at around about 43. Say 120 millimeter fans. We'll keep this at all. Addressable RGB. Keep that at all. Or you can go over and you can click in and you go to Amazon. Just to first say. Sometimes PC part picker don't have what you're looking for. 6 case fan. Fan combo. And there you go. They got these right here. They're not too bad. For $45. I don't get these. No. I'd rather get the fans with the controller. Like here, you can get 5. Well, that's a 5-pack. You want a 6-pack. When you're getting your fans, you want a 6-pack. Even this one right here, this is not too bad. You can get this one right here. I don't like those fans. You can get this one right here. Or you can get the whole case with 6 fans. And believe it or not, that's the same case I got for $80. You get 6 fans with it. So you can go that route. Or, you know, they got fans everywhere. These are not too bad for $44. Those are the same fans I got. But they were $34. See? Right here. I got it right here. They got, you know, you can do so many things with your PC. It's unbelievable. So, you can always add let's go back. Just add 44 onto that. So, $1,650. And I know y'all are going to say, well, that's crazy. That's too much. Well, you got to remember, you're adding on the monitor. Hey, pseudoscientist, good to see you. You got to remember, you're adding on the monitor. You're adding, you know, the stuff that you didn't have, like your case, your fans, all that. I mean, the whole 900 yards. That's the reason why it would cost so much. But if you already got the case with your fans, and that doesn't even include the AIO cooler, which is right here, that doesn't even include the CPU cooler. And believe it or not, we're picking out semi-low budget parts to almost medium parts. So, if it was me, I would do AIO. I would do an AIO cooler. 360 millimeters. I would do thermal right. And go to the lowest to the highest. They got this one right there. I'm looking at the RPM speeds. Oh. That's too slow for me. I like this one right here. Let's see. What one that I would want is the Elite, wherever they got that. The Elite Vision. That's the Frozen Vision. They don't got the Elite Vision in black. Yeah, they do. Right there. Right there. That's what I would add. That's a nice CPU cooler. So, $1,650. Oh, it's snowing there, machine? Oh my goodness, goodness. Can't believe it's snowing. Oh, pseudoscientists got snow too. Oh my god. Guys, I mean, semi to low budget PC is about $1,650. Okay. Everything wrapped up, put at your door. If you're wondering, and that comes with everything you see. Now, going down here, this says potential issues, incompatibilities. Let's see what they say. Okay, the B550A gaming ATX motherboard supports the Ryzen 7 5700X with the BIOS version, because now they're telling you you need to update the BIOS version. So that's no big deal. I mean, that's something you can do in a matter of 3 minutes. So, note about the USB adapters, which you don't have to worry about that. Some physical constraints are not checked, such as the RAM clearance with the CPU cooler. Well, I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's a problem. And from what they're showing here, that we got a good budget PC. Pretty much. So, I mean, for the amount of RAM this amount of hard drive space this has on a total, I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, you got 7 terabytes of hard drive space. You got 64 gigs of RAM. You got a decent processor with decent cooling, you know. You got a decent case. I thought it was a pretty cool case. And you got a 1,000-watt power supply with a decent 1440p monitor at 180 hertz for $1,650. Now, if you want to make that cheaper, then what you do is you would take off. This is what you would take off. I already know. It says 448 watts. Told you, less than 500 watts. Right here. Less than 500 watts. So that's not bad. If you wanted to change things around, make it cheaper, then you would have to start off at scratch and then go from there. So basically, you would have to change the processor. You would have to change the motherboard and the RAM. Let's see. You'd have to take off the RAM. You'd have to change the motherboard. Keep the hard drives. Keep everything else. And see, by taking just the CPU, the motherboard, and the RAM, you only chopped it down $400. So in truth and reality, you only chopped it down $400. So now you got to find something that is $400 worth. So now you have to find something that is AM5. Okay, so we are going to go B650, lowest to highest. Ah, crappy VRM. I wouldn't buy that. See, it's kind of hard to pick what you want. ATX, DDR5. All right, we'll go with that and see what we come up with. Got an Asus right here, Prime B650. It's a Prime. You got a gaming MSI gaming Wi-Fi Plus. You could do that too. 150 bucks. So you could do that one right there for 150 bucks. Okay, now choosing CPU. Isn't this fun to do? Crappy VRM, go for a CPU air cooled then. Well, if you look at it, the air cooled's at, if you want a crappy one, they're like at 20 bucks. So you're only spending like, what, 50 or some dollars for a 360 AIO that cools very well. So beggars can't be choosers on it, I can tell you. So, low to high price. You can get that's still even ratty. You could probably get, when they come on sale, like a 9600X. What do you guys think? A 96? Trying to find something within price range. I mean, if you want to, scrap your graphics card, then you get an 8700G, but you won't get better graphics. Um, I mean, you could go the 86, could go the 8600G, but I don't know. Exactly, beggars can't be choosers. With an AIO not cooling the motherboard, but you're missing the point. The airflow that comes through the case, it comes through the case and goes right up out the top. Takes all the temperature, cool temperature that's at the bottom, and raises it right to the top. My case is set up that way, and I'm running an AIO cooler, and the airflow comes in through the front and goes right up out the back. And the cold air goes right up over the motherboard, and it hits on the bottom and it hits on the top. I know I pressure tested it already. And I can tell you, it's not hot. So, and yeah, passively cooled, you can do that and not have a problem. If you do it correctly, you won't have a problem. I mean, passive cooling, it's not a problem. So, looking at this, you could do a 9600X, or you can do a 7700X. Because look at the base clocks. It's at 4.5 to 5.4. Now looking at a 9600X is from 3.9 to 5.4. One's Zen 4 and the other one's Zen 5. But the 9600X is cheaper than the 7700X. So that would be pushing it. You can do the 9600X. And now to choose the RAM. Now you're not going to be able to get, well, maybe 6400, 64 gigs, 2 sticks. Let's add that. $89 more. So now, right here, guys, it's $200 more expensive for least expensive on AM5 platform. So, let's get the calculator and I'll show you. Right here. So, this is $1,800, $35.72 minus the $1,650 means going up to from AM4 to AM5 will be $186. That's the difference between AM4 and AM5. Other than the speeds and everything else, because you had to spend a little bit more for the processor, you had to spend a little bit more for the RAM, and you had to spend a little bit more for the motherboard. So all around, it's going to be $185 more expensive. And that's not using top of the line parts. This is using the cream of the crop parts. Mid to low end. So, unless I change the fact of using the 4070 and change it down to, let's say, let's do this. Let's change the video card. Go from the lowest to the highest. We can find a $200 graphics card. But I think you'll be doing yourself a big disservice if you do it and use a $200 graphics card. I really do. I think you would be doing yourself a bad disservice. Going up a little bit higher would be a better, thing. You could do, let's go up one more. If you're within a budget, then you got to deal with what you're in a budget with. And that's just a little bit of hard picking. That's all it is. Just a little bit of hard looking, hard picking. I mean, even if you decide to go like a 7600 XT, let's just say you decide, okay, well, since it's got 16 gigabytes of VRAM and everything else, I could take my chances with that processor and running a 7600 XT. But yeah, but why for $79 more? Why would I go with the 6600 there, machine? That's the thing. Yeah. A 4060? Well, this has got 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Because if you look at the 4060 Ti, 16 gigabyte, that's almost $500. That's the thing. It's almost $500. This right here is low budget, but you got 16 gigabytes of VRAM. If you're stretching it between a $200 and $300 way to go, I would go the 7600 XT. Just my opinion. If you're stretching it to 300, I would go with this right here. You have to understand, not a lot of people like ray tracing. They like rasterization. So if these 9 out of 10 chances 7600 XT will play a lot of the newest games. So now you're bringing it down to $1,550, right here. Now you're bringing the price down. Now if I want to bring it down more, I could lose this. Okay. I could lose the 1 terabyte and use the 2 terabyte just for now. Okay. I can lose those two. So, got 1 drive. Got that. I could probably go down on the power supply, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't go that route. But now look at it. $1,388.70. So you have to look at it from your 1,650 and you minus that from your 1,388.70. So now your $1,650 budget, you saved yourself $261.30. You see, I reduced it down to where it's manageable. Let's say I'm not doing content creating, and stuff like that. So, if any $200 GPU is not good enough and I need a display adapter, I would go for a GT710 or a GT730 or an RX 5080 or 5090. Those got 8 gigabytes of VRAM. I wouldn't go that far down if I needed a display adapter. I would take and go to Amazon. Okay, I'll show you why. You go to Amazon. And you go and hit RX 500. 590, sorry. So you can get a 590 for 158, 155, 590. You can get it for 105. If you want to hit bottom of the barrel, you can get a 580 for $89, 90 bucks. Okay, so that's if you're hitting the bottom of the barrel. If you're just needing a display adapter, I would go to a 580 or a 590. The reason why is because the drivers are still being updated. And with your GT series, you no longer got updates for those drivers. So that's the reason why I'm saying that. Okay, let's see. Check this out. No matter what you buy now, buy a 9800X3D, then all you have to do is upgrade in the future is a new GPU. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. I agree. But there's not a lot of people that are going to spend $400 to $500 on a CPU, and then they got to spend an additional $200 on a motherboard. So, that's like, let's say $700. And then now you got to up to the CU DIMM RAM, or regular RAM. But with those new motherboards, then you're looking at the CU DIMM RAM. Then you're looking at what? Another $170 or $150 for 32 gigabytes of RAM. So you add all that up, then you're stuck in the boat, because now you got to think about your hard drive and your case, and then everything else, and it just becomes to where it's just more expensive. So unless you got a deep pocket that'll get you all these high-end parts, then yeah, I would say go with the 9800X3D. But if you don't, then you might want to think about either don't want to stick with AMD, and if you want to go Intel, you can go Intel as well. Intel's got some cheaper parts as well. You can go through Intel. But the way they're going with the 13th and 14th gen right now, the processors, I don't think that's wise. 12th gen, maybe, because it's not being sent back because of, internal mechanical failures. Not like the 13th and 14th gen. But even if you look at Arrow Lake, it's more expensive than, the 9000 series for AMD. More expensive. Except for what, the 245 series? But that ain't worth nothing. That ain't going to get you where you're going. Yep. That's pretty much what it is, pseudoscientists. That's the only thing I can recommend is the 12900K. Because that's been a workhorse ever since the beginning of the days. So yeah, that's the only one I can recommend. I do agree with you. I mean, but why would I get a 12900K when I can do something better than that for the same price. So, and that's on the AMD side. PCH Dave said the 13th and 14th gen got fixed. No, they didn't. There's still reports out there that they didn't get fixed. Some people it did work and some people it didn't work. So, yeah. Claiming it's not a hardware bug, just an update the mainboard BIOS and it'll be fine, he says. Well, that's not what I've been hearing out there. A lot of people are still complaining about, the processor's not even, up to standards, the crashing and everything else. So, it could be that they, with their processor, it could be too late. It could be that they got a dud and they got to send it in for an RMA and get it fixed. It could be that too. Yep, time will tell, guys. Time will tell. I mean, depends on what you want to do, I mean, if you don't want to spend much for a PC, then you can go the route of getting a G processor that has integrated graphics and do your best off of that. But you're going to spend an arm and a leg when it comes to, a discrete graphics card. The prices are not nice. That's the thing. Right now, the prices are not nice. Okay? I mean, if you got a Micro Center close to you, then you can get one of their bundle deals for like $200 or $300 to where you get the RAM, you get the processor, and you get the motherboard. That'll save you an extra $100. So, you just want to keep chopping at it. You just got to look around. And why the heck is Arrow Lake so slow in gaming? Who's to blame? Well, you know who's to blame. MTBK, you know who's to blame. It's the one that sells snake oil. Or complains that AMD was selling snake oil. So. But until they get that problem fixed, Arrow Lake is basically designed for, what do they say, server? If you want to run a server-based processor, like Xeon processors, that's about what Arrow Lake's like right now. It's running like a Xeon processor. So, that's just my opinion. So, you guys can take that with a grain of salt or like gold. But, that's pretty much what I come up with. So, alright everybody, let's go back to the main screen. Let me shut all this down. Because we're getting close to... I can't believe one PC alone. I can't believe one PC alone took almost 2 hours to formulate. Usually I can formulate it in less than 15 minutes. But we're having that serious discussion about the graphics cards, what's going to be best for that system. And I can tell you, running a system that has the 9000 series X processor in it, you're still going to need a decent graphics card. You're still going to have to consider the 7800 XT or the 50 or the 4070, but you can also wait for the 5060 Ti, which that's garbage. And you guys heard me right, I just said that. 5060 Ti is garbage. Because I don't feel them putting 12 gigabytes of VRAM on a 5060 Ti, unless I am wrong, and I saw it wrong in the leaks, that they're giving it the same amount of RAM as the 5070 and the 5070 Ti. So that's kind of making me hesitate about the 50 series. That the only graphics card that they got is the 5090, which they're going to have at $2,500. If you buy a board partner graphics card, it's going to be at $2,500. If you buy a Founders Edition, it's going to be at $2,000. That's what being put out there in the leaks. So, I'm not sure what AMD is going to do. AMD is talking about an XTX, a new XTX graphics card coming out. Not an XT, an XTX. I heard an XTX was coming out. They could do an XT and scratch off the XTX, like they did the 7950 XTX. They scratched that off. That would have been a better graphics card than the 7900 XTX. So, hello, Let's Play. Good to see you. Welcome to the hood. 8800 XT, I don't know. That's kind of iffy. But from what's being leaked, that they're saying there might be an XTX coming out with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. So, I don't see pricing coming down ever. Yeah, well, with the tariffs looming, especially if you don't get one before the February or March of next year, looking at a markup of another 60% on top of that, add 60% on top of the cost of the GPU now, and then you get your total cost. What, extra, what, $100, $120, something like that. Imagine buying a new platform for every new 90 class card. That is $4,000 or something. Well, in 2026, it's going to be $10,000 and something dollars. That's about where the price is going to be. Somebody joked with me one day on what was it? I think it was SL or something. They said, you know, when you go to buy your next computer in 2026, that it's going to cost you, for a cheap one, it's going to cost you about $10,000. I'm like, no, it never cost that much. Even, and I just got done showing you that a computer with the cheapest parts right now, not the cheapest, but semi-cheap, but will still keep you into the gaming with the new games coming out, is still at $1,650. And that is the cheap end of things. I mean, come on, guys. I just got done showing you this. Didn't they estimate desktop systems will be plus 6.2% in price only? Yeah, but that's 6.2% on top of the $2,100 they're going to be tacking on to those pre-builts, depending on where you buy them from. For $10,000, I'd buy an Elon Musk house. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much, yeah. That is very possible. It's going to come down to it that DIY, do it yourself, building your own PCs are not going to be coexistent that the way you're going to have to. Hold on. Sorry about that, y'all. It looks like it looks like I gotta get out of here and go. But it's been a cool 2 hours with you guys. I do appreciate you guys sticking around. And yes, we will talk about this again next week. And don't forget, Saturday at noon time, from noon to 2, we'll have this discussion talking about this again. So, poor dollar inflation. Yeah, very poor dollar inflation. Let's see if Trump will make us rich still. Yeah. Well, let's hope he does. Let's hope he does. But anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. And don't forget, if you're first time here, make sure you subscribe. Put a like on the video. Don't forget to hit the like button. And don't forget to turn your notifications on so you know when I post the next video. And everybody, you have a great day. Be safe. And we'll pick this up next Saturday around noon. So until then, we will see you.